So let us start today with inheritance in Java, guys. Okay, so inheritance in Java, very important concept with respect to Java. Okay, so let us see the inheritance concept. So inheritance in Java is basically a mechanism in which one class acquires the properties, fields that might be variables, and behaviors which might be methods of another class, and it is used for code reusability and method overriding. Okay, so major concept with respect to the Java is inheritance, because it helps us in providing the inheritance with respect to various classes. Okay, so let me try to switch back to Eclipse and let me try to show you guys that how does this work. Yeah. So let us first see what is inheritance, right? Inheritance is nothing but that acquires the properties and functionalities of another class, right? Is known as inheritance. So here you can see that we have, see, inheritance occurs between two classes. Inheritance, for example, consider we inherit some properties from our parents, right? For example, it might be like some characters or some of the things that what our parent use, so we will also be using that, right? So inherited, those properties are inherited from our parents, right? So the same way it works with respect to classes in the case of Java. Okay, for example, let us try to have, I'll try to explain here. Okay, I'll try to explain here. Let me try to create one class. Okay, I'll try to create a class called as parent. I'll go class and I'll create a class called as parent class. Okay, so this is the parent class, parent. Okay, and I'll try to create finish. So here I have created one class known as parent. Okay, let me try to create this parent class here. Instead of creating it here, let me try to create in one more package. I'll try to create it in the test1 package, class parent. Okay, I created one class. So this parent class is having few variables. For example, int of a, it is having, okay, and it is having one more variable, int of b. Okay, and it is having few methods. For example, public void add is a method, and here I'll try to perform addition of two variables. So for that I'll try to write one particular println statement, addition of two variables. Okay, I'm just trying to write something, two variables, and then I'll try to perform the addition here. So I'll try to perform addition in the addition performed in the parent method. Okay, I'm just trying to write some statement, and then I'm trying to write something here like 3 2 plus uh, let me try to write something like this, and let us try to perform some addition. Int of sum is equals to 2 plus 5, and let me try to print that sum here. Okay, so here I have created a parent class. This parent class has two variables. The variable, one variable is variable a and one variable is variable b, and this has one method. Method is add, and here we are trying to perform addition of two numbers, that is 2 plus 5, and few println statements we have with respect to this particular method. Okay, so is this an inheritance? No, this is not an inheritance. Inheritance is the property in which one class acquires the properties or the functionalities, the variables or the methods of another class, is known as inheritance, right? So let me try to show you guys the inheritance. So for that, let me try to create one more class, class child1, like this. Okay, let me try to create main method inside this, and let me try to create finish. Okay, one more class. So is this class inheriting other class? No, it is not inheriting. Inheritance in Java can be achieved. Okay, inheritance in Java can be achieved with the help of extends keyword. Extends keyword. and here we have to write the class name from which we need to inherit the properties. For example, here I will write it as parent, like this. Okay, so which class is this child1 class inheriting? It is inheriting parent class. Okay, so what keyword we are using to achieve inheritance? We are using extends keyword in order to achieve inheritance in Java. Okay, so how to write? We will be creating a class. After that, we'll be using the extends keyword, and after that, we'll be trying to write the class name from which we want to inherit. Okay, now let me try to write this. Okay, I'll try to write system.out.println and I'll use write a. Right, I'm trying to write a. Okay, so now you can see it is giving me a compile time error. Right, why it is giving me a compile time error? Because I am trying to refer the non-static variables into the static block. That is the reason it is giving me a compile time error. So what I will do, I will use this. I'll create one method. I'll create a method public void subtract. Okay, and then I'll try to access that particular variable, or I'll do like this. Okay, or I'll do like this. Print values. Okay, this is the method that I have created. Now what I'll do, I'll try to use the variables that are present inside the parent class. Right? Where is this a present? Have I declared this a inside child1? No, we have no variable name with a, but still I am trying to use. Why? Because I have inherited the parent class, and this parent class is having the variables a and b. Okay, so where is this a coming from? The a is coming from parent class, right? Have I declared a somewhere here? No, I have not declared. Right, I have not declared a. Correct. So I have not declared a here, but still I'm able to see variable a. Where it is coming from? It is coming from parent class. Right, so where is this a is coming from? The a is coming from the parent class. Now let me try to access b, like this. Same thing, I'm just trying to print b. So now this b is a variable that is declared in the parent class, and I am able to access. So these are nothing but accessing the variables from one more class. Right, coming back to the definition. What is the definition? Inheritance in Java is a mechanism in which one class acquires the properties of another class is known as inheritance. Right, are we acquiring the properties of another class? Yes, here you can see these are the properties. The a and b are the properties of class parent. Are we trying to use? Yes, we are trying to use. Now whatever the behavior, let us try to access the behavior. So how to access the behavior? I'm just trying to call this particular method like this. See, have I declared this add in this particular class? No. Have I created the object? No. But still I will be able to use it in the child class. Now for example, if I try to remove this particular thing, this is the inheritance that we are trying to achieve with the help of the extends keyword and the class name from which we are trying to inherit, right? So I'll try to remove. Now see, I'll try to save. Are we getting compilation error? Yes, we are getting the compilation errors here because this particular variables or this particular method is not present inside the child1 class. So it is telling that create this variables and create this method because these are not present in the child1 class, right? So it is asking us to create, but if you are trying to inherit, then then it is not required to create new variables or new methods. We can use the existing methods and the variables present in the parent class. Okay, so coming back to the definition, Okay, coming back to the definition that here in Java, like here we can see in Eclipse. Okay, here we can see in Eclipse that we have created these two variables, and if we are trying to remove this extends keyword, then it will ask us to create these variables and the methods. But due to this inheritance, we are trying to inherit the properties of the parent class. These are the properties of which class? Parent class. And this is known as an inheritance. So what is inheritance? Inheritance in Java is a mechanism in which one class acquires the properties, it might be variables, fields, and behaviors or methods of another class, is known as inheritance in Java. For example, here you can see we have inherited the class parent properties in class child1 properties, right? Now suppose if this particular variable is not present in parent class, then will I be able to access in child class? No, I will not be able to access, right? Because it is not present. Then I have to declare. Then I have to declare this variable. Then I can use. Right? See, I can use that, right? But if I am not having in the parent class, and if we are trying to refer, it will ask us to declare that particular variable. Okay. Now, for example, I will create one more method. I will create one more method. What is the method? I will try to create subtract. Okay. Subtraction of two variables. Okay. 2 minus 5. Or let me consider as 5 minus 2. Here it is subtraction. And here difference. Difference, and I'll try to print it here, right? So now if I try to execute this method, this particular method, that is print values, let us see how it behaves. So how to access this particular method now? We need to make a method call. How we can do? We can create the object of the child1 class, and then we can try to call that particular method. So I'm trying to create an object. Child c1 is equals to new child1 is the object of the child class, and I'm trying to access the print value method. I'm trying to call the print value method. Run as Java application. See, whatever the values or whatever the things that I'm printing here is all coming from the parent class. Am I doing something, any operation, any addition, any subtraction here? No. I'm just using the functionalities present inside the parent class, right? So first add is performed. Where it is performed? Addition of two variables, right? So that I'm trying to get here, right? Addition of two variables. Before that, I'm trying to get 0 and 0 from this sentence. This println statements. A and B, right? What is the default value of A? As it is integer, instance variable, 0 is printed. What is the default value of variable B? Instance variable, integer value, 0 is printed. Now I am trying to call add method, which is present under parent class. I am trying to print addition of two variables. So addition of two variables. Sum 2 plus 5 is 7. So here I am trying to store in sum, and I am trying to print addition performed in parent method. Addition performed in parent method, and sum. What is the sum? Sum is 7. Similarly for subtraction. Okay. So that I am trying to get here. So inheritance in Java is nothing but it is a functionality where one class acquires the properties and functionalities of another class. That is known as inheritance, and it is used for code reusability and method overriding. Method overriding we'll be seeing again. Okay, we'll see method overriding again, but are we doing code reusability? Are we reusing the code here, guys? Right? We are reusing the code. Correct? We are reusing. This is we are reuse. We are not writing this add functionality one more time. Correct? We are not writing this a and b variable one more time in child1 class. we are using that is present under the parent class, which is possible with the help of extends or inheritance concept, right? So that is the major advantage of inheritance, the reusability of the code and overriding. Overriding we will be seeing in the polymorphism. Okay, so this is known as an inheritance. Inheritance in Java. Now this is the syntax. For the syntax, we have to make use of extends keyword. Okay, extends and the parent class name we have to use. And next thing is there are some key points with respect to the inheritance. That is, the child class is called as the subclass, and it inherits from the parent class, that is superclass. Okay, in this our example here, if you consider, child 1 is the subclass, parent is the superclass. Okay, parent is the superclass, child 1 is the subclass. Okay, and the extends keyword is used for class inheritance, right? Extends is the keyword, so we are using extends as the keyword, right, for in order to achieve inheritance. Next thing is the implements keyword is used for the interface, that we will see in interface concept with respect to abstractions. Okay, and supports method overriding, this will be seeing in the polymorphism concept. And Java does not support multiple inheritance with classes. So what is the type of inheritance Java supports? The Java supports multi-level inheritance. This is multi-level. Okay, you cannot we cannot inherit two classes. You cannot write something like this, comma, bank account, like this. What is this bank account? Bank account is one more class, this class. We can't inherit two classes for one class. This is known as a multiple inheritance, which is not supported in Java. Okay, Java supports only multi-level inheritance. Multi-level inheritance is one class acquires one more class, again one more class acquires one more class, like that. That is known as multi-level inheritance. So Java support multi-level inheritance. In order to achieve multiple inheritance, we can go with interfaces. Okay, that we will see in the interface concept. But Java supports multi-level inheritance. Java does not support multiple inheritance. Okay, so this is known as an inheritance in Java, where one class acquires the properties and functionalities of another class. Now consider there is one more common interview questions that is asked. Now suppose you want to restrict some particular class to be inherited. Now in this example, which is the class that we are trying to inherit? We are trying to inherit the parent class, right? Now you want to restrict this parent class to be inherited by someone. Then in that case, we can declare this particular class as final. If we are declaring a particular class as final, then this particular class cannot be inherited. Okay, so common interview question, that how will you restrict one class being inherited by another class? Then in that case, we can declare that particular variable, that particular class as final. By declaring that particular class as final, we are restricting the inheritance from by another class. See, I have declared this particular parent class as final, due to which the child one class is giving me this compile time error, right? Because we are not able to inherit the parent class, right? If I remove this final, I'll again be able to inherit. All those compilation error will go. See, all the compilation errors are gone, right? But if you want to restrict some class to be inherited by another class, then in that case we can declare that particular class as final. Okay, so this is one restriction that we can achieve with respect to a inheritance concept. Okay, so this is the major concept of OOPS concepts of Java, that is inheritance. Okay, So now let us try to create one more class, that is grandchild class, which I have created here. Okay. So now let me try to extend. Extend what? Extend child1 class. What I am trying to extend? I am trying to extend child1 class. And what is child1 class is extending? It is extending parent class. Right? So what are all the variables or the methods that child1 has? It has a main method like this. And let me try to have some more variables here, like int of z. Okay, int of z is equals to 0, and string of name is equals to like this something, apple. Okay, I'm just trying to take one name, apple. Now what are the methods that child1 has? Print values and main method, correct? Now I am trying to extend the child1 class. So what are all the methods will grandchild has? Let me try to use one method, public void get details is the method that grandchild has. Okay, now I'll try to access add method. Where is this add method coming from? Do I have this add method in grandchild class? Do I have add method in child1 class? Do I have the method add in parent class? Yes. So that parent class is that grandchild class is giving me the add method. Understood the hierarchy? Due to this child1 class extending the parent class, this has add method. Now as we are trying to extend, the grandchild class is going to extend child1 class, due to which whatever the functionalities the child1 has, either it might be due to his particular class or due to the properties that he is extending from the parent class. All those properties will be available to the grandchild class. Okay, so where is this add method coming from? The add method is coming from parent class. Why I am getting that access? Because child1 class I am extending, and child1 class is extending parent class. So due to that reason, I am getting this add method inside the grandchild class of get details. Now I'll try to have print values. Print value is coming from which class? It is coming from child1 class, right? So whatever the properties that one class acquires will be by default available to one more class which is extending that class. In this case, grandchild class is extending child1 class. Now child1 class is extending parent class. This has its own properties. So this all the properties that are present inside the parent class, all the properties that are present inside the child1 class will be available to the grandchild class. Now there are few restrictions with respect to the inheritance. That is, whatever it is private to the parent class or to the superclass will not be accessible to the extending classes. For example, like this, private name is equals to tree, like this. Okay, I'm just trying to have one particular name. So this is private. Now if you try to access this private variable inside any class that is extending or the child classes, you cannot access. It will give you a compile time like this. See, this name is coming from parent class, right? So it is giving you a compile time error because this is private variable. So what and all we can access or what and all the child class can inherit from the parent class? All the variables or all the methods except the private ones. Okay, because those are private to that particular class. So except those, we can try to inherit everything. Okay, so this is the restriction that can be achieved with respect to a class. One restriction is, if you want to restrict a particular class to be inherited, then we can declare that particular class as final. One more restriction is, the whatever the private variables to a class cannot be inherited by the child classes. Okay, So those are the restrictions with respect to inheritance.